In this video, I want to show you the Show My Desktop tool, and I wanted to show you it from the instructor perspective as well as from the student perspective, because the student or the participant and the instructor or the meeting host is going to see different things on their screen. So right now I'm in a session and I'm ready to share a presentation. I have a PowerPoint here that I want to show to my participants, so I'm going to go ahead and open it. Now, using Show My Desktop, you can show any type of application. It doesn't just have to be a PowerPoint. Anything you're bringing up on your computer screen can be sort of broadcast to the students. However, they will not have control of your computer at any point. It is just sort of a video feed of your computer screen going to them. So now I'm going to go back to MegaMeeting. And I'm going to go to the Show My Desktop tool, which is up here at the top along the toolbar. I have already installed the Show My Desktop utility, so I immediately get the Show My Desktop options to come up. If you're not seeing this screen and it's asking you to install the Show My Desktop utility, you'll need to stop and do that. You will also have to reload the meeting. So I highly recommend installing the Show My Desktop utility in advance of your meeting, and it just needs to be installed on the computer that you intend to present from. So let's look at a couple of these options. This option here says entire screen, and the tooltip says show the entire desktop to the meeting, regardless of content. So participants in this meeting will see anything that I see on my computer screen. So if I minimize windows, bring up a browser, or bring up different files, the participants of the meeting, that will all be broadcast. This is typically my recommendation for first-time Show My Desktop users. Showing the entire screen is just the simplest way to go, where the presenter or instructor doesn't have to guess and make sure that the students are seeing what they intend to see. This is also an option, and it's called Active Application. The tooltip says show the currently active application to the meeting, meaning if I switch from a Word document to a PowerPoint to a web browser, the group in the meeting will only see that window in the order that I show it. It's only showing the active application. It's not going to show my desktop behind that. So I'll show you that in a few moments. The Select an Application option can be a little tricky, but it can also be really useful. What it does is it allows you to select one application from a list to display, and you'll only be able to display that application. Meaning, as an instructor, you can switch back and forth to the MegaMeeting room to check on any text chat questions. What it does do is restrict you the flexibility of opening additional applications to show your participants. For example, if a question leads to maybe a different presentation that you want to open or a web page that you want to visit, it will restrict you from being able to display those additional windows. Other devices that you might have plugged into your computer. This could be a document camera, for example, in the classroom, and I haven't experimented with that, so I won't be demonstrating that today. One word of caution is that Mac users will not necessarily have all of these options. Typically, MegaMeeting has only allowed Mac users to use the entire screen option. Be aware that Mac users will have limited functionality of the Show My Desktop tool. I'm going to select entire screen so that you can see what that's like. And here you'll see some other options. Screen updates. The options you have are favor sharpness or favor speed. I will always recommend favor speed. When you have favor sharpness, you'll tend to get more reports from your participant that there's a delay. So it's sending a very crisp image, but it's probably taking longer to get to them. So I favor speed, and I still think it looks really good. It doesn't look, the tooltip says it may look grainy at first, but it looks quite good. The main video panel means a webcam video. So if I had a webcam plugged into my computer, my name would be listed here. Alternatively, if you have any students that are maybe presenting, you could switch this video panel to their web camera. and it would have the names of the users listed here who have webcams. For this example, I'm going to click None because I don't have a webcam plugged in. Show all attendees. What that does is that will display a video window for all of the participants that have webcams while the Show My Desktop feed is going on. Allow fit to screen. You always want to leave this checked, and you'll get to see a little bit of that on the student side. Default to enabled. What that will do is that by default, my presentation will be scaled to fit each individual participant's screen. So depending on the size of their computer screen and the size of their browser window, MegaMeeting will automatically resize the broadcast of my screen so that they can see the entire thing. Now, participants will have a zoom slider as well as a fit to screen checkbox in the lower left of their screen as they're viewing the Show My Desktop presentation. So they can really adjust their view to zoom in closer or zoom out farther if they so choose. Highlighter is another tool that MegaMeeting provides. So let me go ahead and open that. I'm going to click Load Highlighter, and then I'm going to click OK. And what it is, it's just an executable file. So I'm just going to run it and run it again. And the highlighter is this little toolbar here. You can actually use this outside of MegaMeeting. It's not dependent on having MegaMeeting open. And if it's something that you would want to use regularly, I might recommend pinning it to your toolbar or even to creating a shortcut on the desktop. What the highlighter allows you to do is use your mouse to draw on a presentation such as a PowerPoint. So I'll demo that. The highlighter takes a little practice to get used to, so I would advise testing it out in advance. Keep in mind that this highlighter is a separate application, which means I would definitely want to use the entire screen method of Show My Desktop. If I were to use Active Application or select an application, any markings I make with the highlighter will not display as I intend. But entire screen will allow users to see my computer screen and any markings I make with the highlighter. So all I'm going to do is click Start. And that brings up this message to me as the instructor. Show My Desktop is currently in progress. Please minimize or resize this browser window. Closing this browser window will disconnect the meeting. So it's really important to understand. Right now, as you can see in the student view, I am sharing my desktop. But because I haven't done anything, all my students are seeing is my MegaMeeting window. So what I need to do is I can either minimize my browser window or I can bring up my PowerPoint on top of it. As we're going through this presentation, you'll notice that the student view is sometimes a little bit behind, and this is normal. It's to be expected with any type of web conferencing and screen sharing. The amount of delay is going to depend on different factors such as internet connection speed from both sides, the host as well as the participant, and the amount of information that you're pushing out. So if you're sending webcam feeds of all the attendees, as well as pushing out a Show My Desktop presentation, that's going to be pushing more information through than just using one or the other. So now I can begin my presentation, and I'm going to switch it to full screen view. So now this is all my students are seeing, and I can walk through my presentation. This presentation is downloaded from the Purdue Online Writing Lab. Notice from my side, the instructor's side, that I cannot see the text chat box. This is one unfortunate thing about MegaMeeting, but there are ways to work around it. If someone were to text a question in, I could hear the chime. I'm going to Alt-Tab on my keyboard to go back to it. My text chat box is set to play that incoming chat sound. So there is the possibility that I could switch back and forth when I hear the chat symbol. Or as an instructor, I may go through a few slides before I ask if there are any questions. Now to get a look at how the highlighter works, let me bring that up. So if I have it over here, and I will reiterate, it takes practice. It's not the easiest thing to use. So I can draw freehand and choose a color. Another thing that might be useful, especially for a PowerPoint, is the notation. If it's a step-by-step process, or perhaps bringing up a website where I can say these 3 links go to the same location. And I clear these by using the Show Transparency button. Let's look at some of the other options for screen sharing. So what I'm going to do is up here in the top right, I can stop the Show My Desktop controls, and I'll go back to this computer icon. Now I just want to show you a demonstration of what an active application would look like from a student perspective. And it'll give you an idea so that you sort of know from your end what is being displayed on the screen, which I think is one of the most important things about using web conferencing and an application sharing tool, is that you as the host understand what is being displayed at any given time. So remember, active application is only the active window is being displayed to the students. So I can switch back and forth to different applications, but only one is going to show at a time. So I'll click Start. Again, I get the indication as an instructor that Show My Desktop is currently in progress. So what I'll do is I'll use my Alt-Tab button and go to PowerPoint. So now my students should be seeing my PowerPoint presentation. If I wanted to switch to my highlighter, because I know I can only show the active application, it's very likely that my students are only seeing the highlighter at this point and not seeing the PowerPoint presentation that's on my screen. It's a different application. Now my recording tool should be displayed and probably nothing else. What it'll show behind it is a black screen. Okay. I'm going to stop Show My Desktop once more so that I can go back to the options and try Select an Application. Now I'm going to set this up and click Start. Now MegaMeeting is asking me which application do I want to show. And again, with Select Application, it's only going to show that application and nothing else. So I'm given a list of every application that is now open. And what I want is the PowerPoint slideshow, my APA style guide slideshow. And I'll click OK. Again, I have the indication that Show My Desktop is currently in progress. And based on my previous experience with this tool, my guess is that students are just seeing a black screen right now. So what I'm going to do is go to the PowerPoint slideshow, which is what I set as the select application, and now I can continue through my presentation. If I were to Alt-Tab back to my MegaMeeting window to see if there are any questions, my students should still only be seeing the PowerPoint presentation. So that actually works as a nice way for me to still control what the students are seeing while I can do a quick check back at the text chat messages and see if there are any questions that have come in. So that's a quick look at the Show My Desktop tool. Again, you'll want to install the Show My Desktop tool before beginning the session. I hope that gives you a really good idea of what it does from the instructor side as well as from the student side, and I wish you luck in your presentation.